Right there. That was the first drawing. When Vans approached me for the collab, I already had this in mind. And it started out with a couple of quick sketches. This was the feeling. I know I wanted to break the mold on the original checkered pattern. I knew that's what needed to happen. We started with some drawings and really breaking it down and kind of showing what would it look like over the top. And an important part of our process was, yes, drawing. So you can see right here, a lot of light board use. Having the base down, coming over the top, drawing. Hundreds of these types of drawings were made. And over the process of putting this together, we realized that we needed to break down each part of the shoe, each panel. So that means the left pair, because we did a slip-on in an authentic, needed its own design. And the right pair needed its own design as well. So all of these were broken down into drawings, and we chose the best drawings, the ones that we felt like were the most organic representation of unity, of kind of breaking that checkered pattern apart. So process is a very important thing to us because it helps us to get to the bottom of ideas and sharpen them. So we did the same with every single shoe, even down to debris. You'll notice later on when I show you the final shoe that the debris was an important part of making this feel really organic. We wanted to kind of show skin tone and little bits of blood and little bits of, skin and just kind of human debris, if you will. And all of this, even down to splatters, paint splatters, fingerprints, wear and tear on the nose cap of the shoe, ulterior kind of moments. I mean, this is all real, and everything was done at scale. I did a project with NARS Cosmetics, a collaboration with them in 2019, and one of the most important things I learned from the designer Fabian Barone was that you need to do things at scale to where the product is going to end up. So we really used that a lot here. So once these things were finished and we felt confident, we had to lay them out, and they had to be described, and they had to be, and of course, contract season, you got to have contracts, so we're not hiding any of that. That's what came next. And then, we're kind of playing with logos, and the vision is coming to life a little bit more. We're talking about, okay, cool, it made its way into here. Originally, we were going to do a sock, and we were going to show the human anatomy going into the shoe. The shoe is about people. It's about bringing people together and kind of really getting rid of rigid systems and creating new ones through understanding what chaos might be. So we couldn't end up doing the sock, but I was very happy with kind of the way that these things were kind of, pulling together. All of that stuff goes into sample, right? And once all that stuff makes its way into sample, prior to that, though, we have to find fabrics that we like. We have to think about shoes. I mean, we cut apart a shoe to get to where we're at. So then we graduate into the next step, which is having an understanding of color, of, and that is the Pantone swatches. And, these are things that we use in design to help get to our end goal. This is piping and really trying to understand, how the different parts of this shoe are going to come together. So here we have the slip-on, and here we have the OG Authentic. We use the OG Authentic and the OG slip-on models, because the slip-on model is OG, to describe our story. Because we're talking about how the checkered Vans came to be. So we're always keeping ourselves informed as to what the core idea is. If we forget the core idea and we just think about people and numbers and aesthetic and trying to really get to a place where we're selling a lot of shoes, then we kind of lose our way, and we don't want to stagger. We want to keep our design process very intensive on passion and the intention. So here, once they saw that what we were doing at Vans, they said, you know what, we got to give you a collaboration with Dover Street Market. We got to do a Dover Street Market collab shoe. So it was only sort of right to just go stark, black and white, thinking of, you know, Ray, I'm thinking of Comb, I'm thinking of that feeling, and it's just boom, black and white, and we're going to replace some of the checkered pattern with the Dover Street huts. Put a little DSM in. I mean, I really, you know, what was really special about this was that it just kind of was so natural the way that it came together. So once that happened, it was, you know, now we're working with 3 shoes here. It's getting pretty exciting. And then the next phase of the process is, okay, these shoes are coming together. We got some samples coming along. But in the process of that, we need to do boxes and we need to do packaging. So here is what we call this is what we call the packaging, and this is what was needed. I wanted to do a small box example describing different areas of the studio. Why? Because we care about expressing where this was made, and this is kind of my connection to the brand. This is showing my personal relationship to Vans in this process. So we have the outside of the studio, the inside of the studio. We have Lior on the forklift. We have me painting Billy Al Bankston. In the back, we have me in Malibu, and then some logo stuff. So the original version of that was right here. I mean, look, processes aren't always the most pretty looking thing, but this is like a sketch. It's all about getting into it, trying to understand it in different ways, and progressing through the system of making things happen. So we get a box back. Cool, we like it, it's functioning, checking to see if things are right, checking to see if registration is on. The back looks cool. The process of the box showing the outside of the studio to the inside of the studio works. And then, you know, we actually had some copy that we wrote up about the shoe, the story behind it, giving it that very institutional treatment, you know, that very academic treatment, and then the thank yous. Look, when you work on a project, it's not just you alone doing it. To think that or to project that is, it doesn't represent the ego that we believe in here at the studio. We think everybody's a part of the process, and I wanted to talk about everybody that was involved in it as much as possible. So then we go into the Dover Street packaging, that's just black and white. Okay, we're arriving into the next step. Your shoes, we need to have an accessory. Is it a shoe bag? Is it, Connor, tell us what it is. Well, I'm kind of regretful that I didn't do a Sharpie, because the story of these checkered Vans and how they came to be, the one that we all know, started out with kids drawing on their Vans. They were drawing on the soles of the shoes to represent their unity, that black and white pattern. I'm talking about black and white kids listening to ska music. That was a big deal in culture, and Vans noticed that. So in retrospect, I wish I put a Sharpie, but I'm still happy that we ended up going with the bandana. So we have the black and white bandana, and we also have the blue bandana. At this time, I was wearing bandanas a lot. It was coronavirus. It was a very convenient kind of face scarf, and I was also buying these Capital bandanas, and I just loved the attention to detail and the way that looked. I think Capital did a far better job than what we did, but I'm really excited that I was able to kind of imbue that inspiration in there. So this is kind of how cotton bandanas are treated and really kind of imbuing those details. So this is the design company, Cool LLC, and I'll get to how Cool LLC actually was able to make it on the shoe, which is the design company, even though it was a collaboration with me personally. But we were exploring shoe bags. Cool, great. On the back, there was going to be a portrait of me. I felt like it was a little too much, but hey, you go through the process of realizing what's right and wrong over time. Now, sample mode. Check it out. Here they are. The original bottoms were going to be a kind of clear, you know, it was sort of opacity, so you could see the artwork on the sole. But I realized that was going to yellow over time, which it did, and we went into another direction. So that direction was exploring their capabilities with the factory, and what ended up happening was, bear we'll go to these guys. Oh, right, no, not those. What ended up happening was we found out that you could print on the bottom of the shoe. And we felt like that was far more sort of connected to the entirety of the product. And, you know, it was really awesome. Look at the cool logo, how it's made its way onto the Vans real estate. Mind you, a lot of this is asking questions. This entire process is asking questions as to what we can and can't do, as to where we can push and where we can't push. So, I mean, 1,000 emails later, and throughout this entire process, with all the finished shoes here, I'm sure you'll see them elsewhere, we have a finished box. And these are friends and family. And the friends and family shoe has a screen print that was done in the studio. And what we wanted to kind of find a way to personalize them. Here's the Dover Street pair. And you gotta imagine what a satisfying feeling this is to go through showing you an original sketch to a final shoe that's ready to be distributed and for hopefully people to feel into that story and enjoy and see this as perhaps an art object. It is really satisfying. There are many details that I skipped over here, but one of the last ones that was not mentioned was the footbed. The footbed says, I want to be patient with time so that time is patient with me. And that statement is ironically extremely connected to this process. This shoe was supposed to release a year ago, and maybe even longer ago. But we had to be very patient with the process and where the world was at. And I think everything happens for a reason. So here they are. These things don't just pop out. They don't just happen. There's a lot of intricate elements that go into making things. And it's so incredible to, even for me, like I'm the one that helped my team, we all put this together, but I'm just saying ground zero, even for me, it's incredible to hold an original sketch of where something just started. And the reason why I'm even doing this is because I want to inspire other people to realize that there is a certain kind of hard work and intention that goes into things that you can do yourself. So, you know, it's really awesome. And today's Saturday. Tonight I get to go to a dinner. I get to feel rewarded eating the food at the dinner tonight. I get to be rewarded having a little drink and cruise back to the studio, and I got to work on another project. So, you know, this is a little piece of my life, and I hope you enjoy it.